Words on the streets is you tried this out.
Um, I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, let me go ahead and try this book, see what's going on. And my opinion didn't change.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of another relaunch. I am LZ.
Hello, everybody. I am Keenan.
How you doing today, Keenan?
I'm all right. My allergies are starting to come back a little bit. I don't know what's activated them. So if I sound a little nasally, you know why.
Okay. Is it like bad, like pollen and stuff out there?
No, I don't know what it is. I think it's like dust from something. I was like cleaning up. I've been doing a lot of cleaning this week. So,
okay. Keeping it tidy. That's right.
Trying, tidy, trying to keep it nice. Maybe I might have somebody over.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Well, while you enjoy that, I will be enjoying these comics. So let's get started and get right into it. Up first is Astonishing Times #1, and this is a Comixology original. Now, I actually picked this book up literally off the strength of seeing a character drawn that looked like me.
Exactly how it happened. That's how it happened.
I was scrolling through Twitter, and I think it was actually the writer of this book, and this is written by Frank Barbary and Eris Quinones. They do it together. And the art is by Rory Coleman. And I believe it was maybe the writer who like posted some shot or something from a future issue, because that actually wasn't in this issue. But I saw this character and I was like, oh, he looks dope. Like, what is this from? I got to get into it. So I checked this out just to see what was up. And it was actually pretty good. The art is really, really good. The style is very... kind of RB Silva-esque, Yeah,
it's peaked.
Yes, it's very good. And in this universe, superheroes are regular, to the point where like nobody cares anymore. Like they ride the subway with you, and it's nobody cares anymore. And the stuff is right. I mean, they don't really even make money like that, so. And the story is being told by this reporter. His name is Noah Sands, and he writes for the Astonishing Times, is the paper that he writes. And he has been like trying to really inspire people to get back into looking up, as he says, and like looking for heroes and really getting back into that whole thing. Because I guess something happened where they call it the Cataclysm. Those were kind of like big, superhero event thing happened, and like the world was being destroyed, and his father was a reporter who reported on that and like got superheroes to be big and everything like that. So he's like trying to follow in those footsteps, but I believe his father like died during some cataclysm. And it was pretty good. There was a random like superhero who you can kind of tell he was a superhero even though he was dressed like kind of a homeless man, because they checking out this crime scene because a cosplayer gets like burned, lasered to the face. He like this little kid cosplayer comes up to this guy. He's like, oh yeah, it's cool that you like want to take pictures of me in my cosplay or whatever. Like you're a fan of Gold Rush, and that's the superhero. But he turns around and the next panel you see is like him with his head like lasered. So
damn, not the kids.
This is gonna be about him finding like the killer and seeing what's up with superheroes and like if they're turning and everything. It's pretty good. I think I definitely would recommend this to people. It was very action packed. The story was really well done. The very diverse cast. I think people should definitely check this. I would give it a solid like 4 out of 5 for a first
Oh
issue.
wow.
Yeah, I'm definitely
That's a
gonna.
really good first issue. Okay, let me add. You know, I can't be adding more things to my pull list. It's very long.
Well, when the book is good, the book is good.
No, so well, I don't know. I might look. Does it say if this is an ongoing series, a mini series?
So I think this is an ongoing series. Like I said, it's a Comixology original,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of cool that they've been like giving those a bunch of different writers chances to have their own comic books put out as Comixology originals. Um, but I think this is an ongoing. I don't think it's a mini
Okay.
series.
All
And
right. Good
I
shit.
guess the character who I said like kind of looked like me, his name is
Mm-hmm.
Infinite or something. So
Oh, you
I'm
ready?
I'm definitely in until I meet him.
You ready? You ready? That sounds like
Yeah,
your type.
for sure. All right. Up next is Seven Secrets number 11 by Tom Taylor and Danielle D. Nicola, with colors by Walter Biamonte. And take it away because I have yet to jump into this. I know.
You need to hurry up. And speaking of diverse cast, this is one that does it very well. Again, like I've spoken very highly of this book. You know, Tom Taylor, he's been building the relationships between the characters very well. I'm starting to remember the name, so I don't know if you remember last issue. The character Kanto said that he knew somebody was a traitor on the team, and he thinks it's this character, Laquita, the black girl. And so here we start out. This team is going back to Switzerland to find one of the secrets. He tells two of the other members that are on this little squad, like, hey, I think Laquita and Kel are traitors, so like we got to be careful to watch them. They go find the suitcase that has the secret. Laquita immediately like stops it. She like throws her little spear in it so Kanto can't pick it up, and so then they all kind of start fighting. On the other side of the world, we have the main character Casper, and he's with his mom Ava, who's now leading the group, and this other guy, and they have captured the British Prime Minister to figure out what he knows about the seekers, who are the folks who have been after them. Come to find out he is a seeker, so like that's great. But while they're torturing him, we kind of see something weird happen with Casper. His eyes start glowing. He drops the secret briefcase that he has, and like Ava covers his eyes, and she's like, it's over now. He's like, I don't want you torturing people, I don't want you hurting people. She's saying, I'm doing it for you. He's saying that actually makes it worse. And it was just a really nice. Again, we're seeing more layers to Casper's character unravel, and like what exactly is going on with him. Like, why are his eyes glowing? What are these powers? We know that there's something happening with Casper, or that there's more going on that we know about. And so that mystery is nice to see. We go back to Switzerland with Kanto and that group. The folks that they're with, they end up shooting Kel. And then Laquita is, I know, right? It was really sad. And so one of the other folks, Laquita kills one of the other holders, and her and Kanto are about to face off, and he's like, you didn't have to do this. Nobody had to die. And she's like, no, I did. And he's like, oh, can you see the future? And she's like, yes. He's like, well, then I'm shocked you couldn't see this coming. Amon, who is the head of the Seekers and who like killed Tajana, who was the main holder, pops up and cuts Laquita's head off.
Oh, Jesus.
It was dope. I wasn't even expecting. I was like, oh damn. Come to find out, Kanto is not only the traitor, but him and Amon are in a relationship. They're lovers.
Oh, see how they do?
I was like, this is crazy. And so,
Wow.
again, I remember when I was back to looking at the last issue, I thought to myself, I was like, why is Kanto saying Laquita is the traitor? I was like, is he trying to like throw the trail off of him? Or is, Laquita really the traitor? It really got you thinking. So to come to find out, oh, not only is he really the traitor, but he's in this gay relationship with this man. It's crazy. Wasn't
Mm,
expecting it. You see, like, his face has been burnt off. Kanto wears his mask the whole time. And he
okay.
kind of finally takes it off, and we see that his face has been damaged, and we find out it might be something to do with him being on this team. So great series, strong 4 out of 5. Art's great, action's great, colors are fantastic. We're getting there. I love it.
What would you rate this series?
Four
I
out of
mean,
five.
no, not the series, but
Oh,
this issue.
4 out of 5 for sure. Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah, okay. I really need to get into this. I've only
yeah.
heard great things about Seven Secrets, and I'm a fan of Tom Taylor, so uh,
It's really good. It's him at his best. Every person who I've like talked to has started reading it has been like, yes, I love it.
yeah.
Pick it up.
All right, up next is Guardians of the Galaxy Annual number 1, and this is written by Al Ewing. And there's a backup story called Infinite Fury Part 4, which is by Jen McKay and Juan Fieri. And the Al Ewing story is written by Flaviano. Now, did you check this out?
So it wasn't actually in my comicsology list.
Oh,
which was really strange. So I went back and I bought it later when I like
Okay.
saw it. I like so even after I get like my books, I'll tend to go through the new tab on Comixology just to see what comes out, see if there's
Yeah.
anything I want to try or pick up. And so that's when I saw it there, and I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. So bought it, but I didn't read it. I saw it was like Hercules and the Prince of Power on the cover.
Yeah. Do you subscribe on Comixology, like, and have them automatically download them for you?
I do, and that's why I was so confused that it wasn't on there.
So I did the same thing happened with me because obviously Guardians of the
Mm.
Galaxy is on my automatically buy, and this one wasn't in it. So because I think they didn't do it because it's the annual.
Mhm.
Um, so you had to like go out and buy this one separately. But this was all about the Prince of Power and his story. Pretty much, you find out that he is from this planet called I think it was like Muscula or something like that, where everyone there is very like gay and like very brightly colored, and everyone is all about like having very ripped abs and muscles and stuff. And it's obviously a big parody of He-Man. and So all of this entire story is being told while the Prince of Power basically crashes into a bar where Hercules is, and he has to fight these random monsters. And then while they're fighting, the Prince of Power tells him his whole like backstory, and that's what we are getting throughout this.
Mhm.
You find out that he is actually a twin, and that the mother or like the queen of their planet wanted the perfect hero, like with maximum heroic power, and they like genetically like created this one, but two ended up coming out, and they call him the other son. So like the Prince of Power's like first name I think is Other Son.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm
You
sorry.
know,
It's actually Other One.
other one. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of, Prince of Power showed up in a couple of Guardians issues earlier in the run. And he was like a funny character. He was talking about like how he was defeating people with his like tight glutes and his
Yeah.
strong abs. So I think I might be into
You would probably actually really like this. You should definitely read this because it's all about them. Like, it's also very campy and very fun. Like, Al Ewing's getting to just be like very campy and fun in this, and getting to limp that wrist a little.
hang out a little bit. I
Uh-huh.
love that.
Yeah, it's fun. Um, I would honestly give this like a 3.5 out of 5. It's a lot
Ooh.
of fun. Um, it's not normally my cup of tea. Normally I
Mhm.
don't really like a lot of campy stuff, but like
Yeah.
whatever. It's a
Does
fun little.
it does it feel like necessary for the main Guardians run?
Not necessarily, but it does feel necessary for the bigger Marvel universe, because you find out that, so I'm not sure if you've seen what the Infinity Stones have been doing recently, but they've like been fusing with people. So like in Captain Marvel, when she fought Star, like
Star,
Star
I was
was
about to say Star was one of them, right?
yeah, and there's one that has a time stone that was in like some Captain America books, I think.
Mm.
um, you find out that Prince of Power actually has the Power Stone. Um,
Hmm.
because
That's a
while he
good
was
one.
working like in a while his one brother became a superhero, he had to work in a paperclip sorting factory. And while he was eating like the jelly beans at his desk, he ate one, and it ended up being the
The
Power Stone.
Power Stone.
Yeah, and he can like imbue people with more power with
Okay.
the Power Stone. He like did it with Hercules, and Hercules did like one punch, and it like ended the fight.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I guess for the bigger like Marvel universe, like he is probably a little bit more important because it looks like they're building towards something with all of the Infinity Stones fusing with people. They still have
Okay.
to. The Soul and Mind Stones haven't been fused with people yet, but I'm sure that's coming.
Okay. Be on the lookout for that, everybody.
Yeah. And there was the backup story by Jed McKay, which was pretty much all about. It was a Nighthawk story. Um,
Nighthawk.
yeah,
The white one or the black one?
the black one.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like a fun like 3-page story of him like just being Nighthawk. So
Okay. That's
yeah,
cool.
Overall, the issue was exactly what you said. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Up next is Hellions number 14, and that is by Zeb Wells with art by Roge Antonio. And words on the streets is you tried this out.
Um, I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember I saw a solicitation for the Locust Vial showing up, and then X Twitter, X Twitter loves to post on pages at 2 a.m. as soon as they get their book. So when I woke up and like I was scrolling through a little bit later, I saw the Great Ring of Morocco
Mm.
pages. And so I was like, let me go ahead and try this book, see what's going on. And my opinion didn't change.
It's still not clicking for you?
It's still not click for. I will say that Sinister and Nanny are like carrying the series.
Oh, for sure. This
Every
is Sinister
time,
series.
this is definitely Sinister's book. Anytime I have picked it up, like I enjoy them the most. But everybody else just feels very okay. What's next? Tarn was pretty interesting. I thought he was like fun. I thought, we finally got the mention of the chimeras in this issue, which everyone who knows Hoxpox, we know that Sinister ends up creating some chimeras, which ultimately betray Krakoa and like the X-Men, and like is one of the reasons for them losing. So I thought all of that was nice. Overall, yeah, I'm okay with this book.
Yeah, I was the opposite. I enjoyed it a lot. um, I'm not really like too attached to the cast. Um, I could use a shakeup in there, and none of these characters are usually my kind of favorites. But I'm still enjoying this book. Zeb Wells has a
It's
great
really
voice
well
for all the
written.
characters. It's very well written. This book opens with Storm meeting with the Great Ring and having a conversation with them about how they cannot harm Krakoa, and of course Tyron don't care. So
Okay.
um, because he's coming out for retribution for what he feels has been stolen from him. Thanos, Sinister, basically has his tea spilled and is basically everyone finds out that he had his team and killed so that they couldn't find out that he was actually just trying to get the DNA of the people from the Araco. So
Um,
yeah, I thought Tarn was great. His psychic powers were cool. He was obviously a formidable telepath. He completely controlled the entire team. Like
I did
it's
like Tarn a lot. Like I think if there's one thing that I've really kind of been enjoying about the post X of Swords world is like meeting some of the other Araco and Amenthi mutants. I think they're very exciting. I do not think they are better than the Krakoans. I know some people like to be like, "Oh, take me to planet Araco," and it's like, no, we're not there just yet. But uh, I think there's a lot of interesting things about them. And Tarn, I love you. I love a good villain who's like mean and evil with no qualms about it, and is not trying to be like redeemed. He's just like, no, I'm just a nasty guy.
Yes. Yeah, I'm definitely down for Tarn being a villain, like a long running villain, because he's got psychic powers, which makes him pretty formidable and stuff for them to actually pose a threat. Um,
Hmm.
and he obviously is very formidable here. He psychically controls Sinister.
I
Um,
love.
so and I did actually really enjoy the fact when he and his clone were fighting, and during the big fight where the Araco team and the Krakoa team were fighting, the two Sinisters try to kind of run away, and him just name dropping, "Do you want to come with me?" And he's just this like chimera. That was
Hmm.
kind of cool to see. Like, all right,
Yeah,
we're getting to that now. So,
yeah.
um, I expect some of that in Inferno. I truly expect a lot of that in
I can
Inferno.
see that for sure. And I think the whole chimera thing. I think it's also really good in the sense that it makes this book feel a little bit more important. I
Yeah.
think Hellions can be looked at a little bit times as kind of a satellite title, a bunch of C-list characters, and just not really doing too much else. But knowing that, again, Sinister is such a big part of it, the Chimeras might possibly be coming. You know how that ties into Hoxpox. It makes it feel like, oh yes, this is a series that should be cemented, and it hopefully lasts so long because I know it is the lowest selling X book currently. But Marvel's been letting the books go for a while,
They
so
have
hopefully
been.
that won't matter.
They have
Not
been. Now it
everybody
just
will,
makes me
but
think of that Inferno poster now.
Mhm.
And I remember Exodus and Sinister were like yelling at each other from opposite sides. It makes me think
Mhm.
that Exodus doesn't approve of the Chimera project. And
I
like,
can see that.
hmm,
The
I'm
Chimeras,
into it.
honestly, even when the Chimeras were introduced during Hoxpox, I wasn't really like too excited for them. Like, I get it, more mutants, you're creating mutants is cool, but I've always kind of enjoyed the aspect of mutants being born and like that's their natural abilities and their powers. Once you start kind of just creating them, I think it takes away a little bit of the niche.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally get that.
But
Um,
again, they might be like saboteurs, so
who
doesn't know.
knows?
Might
And
have
I
to
mean,
destroy them
also
all.
on that Inferno poster as well, the X-Men team was all laid out on the ground. I wonder if that has to do with the Chimeras, in that whatever kind of battle. We shall see. I'm definitely getting hyped for Inferno. All right, up next is Swamp Thing #6 by Ram V and Mike Perkins with colors by Mike Spicer.
Yes.
And take it away because I know you are all about Swamp Thing.
You know it's good. You just know it's good. And you know I'm going to say that it was good because it was good. It's a good book. It's just a good book. And so here, Ramvi actually has the main character, Levy. He has kind of merged with the Green again. And they've been talking about how the Green is basically a collection of memories of the world. You know, you can always kind of go back to meet people, see people. And so here, he is meeting like his dad who's passed away and some other family members and he's just having like deep conversations with them. We're just getting a little bit more backstory on him, which is nice to see. I really love the way that Ranvi has been building this character out and introducing him to us. It's making us care about him a lot more. On the other side of it all, the Suicide Squad is looking for him.
Oh,
Yeah, and so shout out to the synergy because we all know the Suicide Squad movie came out this week,
yes, yes.
and I have not been reading the current Suicide Squad book, honestly. So I
Wait,
can't
not the
really.
Tom Taylor one was finished, right? He had a
Yeah, the
small
Tom Taylor
short.
one is finished, but this is the new one. So this one actually, the new one actually has folks like Peacemaker on the team.
Okay, gotcha.
Um,
Come
and
on,
so
they really going for that synergy.
okay. So Peacemaker, Chemo, Parasite, and another character are like
Oh, I
all
like
the
Parasite.
ones. I like Parasite. I like Chemo too. So I was like, oh, this team is kind of hot. So I was
Yeah.
like, maybe I should go and pick up the Suicide Squad book because I actually like a lot of these folks. But they're just looking for Levy throughout this book, and while he is trapped in the green, and that's really all it is. It's just like a big chase, and we're getting to know him a little bit more. But at the end of the issue, he kind of finally like wakes up and transforms into his Swamp Thing persona, and so I guess the big fight is about to happen now in the
Okay.
next issue. So again, it's just a good book. 4 out of 5
It's a
for sure.
mini.
So it's 8 issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
That
love.
I
I
think.
like that DC has really been giving like finite end
Yeah.
dates to series.
A lot of things have been like 1 of 8, 1 of 10, something like that. So it's been nice because I think they're kind of taking that seasons model that Marvel had a little bit ago,
Yeah.
but um, doing it with like their lesser known characters
Yeah.
to push them and then hopefully bring them back into a long form story.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, come on. Yes. I hope that's what they're doing. That would be the right
okay,
thing to do.
okay. But yeah,
all,
good
all
book.
right.
Pick it up.
Up next is X-Men #2. And this was written by Jerry Dugan with art by Pepe Larraz. And let's give a round of applause for this
This
team.
is a team. This is a team. They bring out
This
the best in each other.
They really do. Yeah. You know, we have not been shy about our opinions on Marauders.
Okay.
um, you lasted on that book a lot longer than I did. Uh,
Hmm.
and I will have to say that like this is really a big like reminder of how dope Jerry Duggan can really be. If he is really on a project that like fits where he shines.
He
Or he
shines like.
just probably just needs to have Rogue. Because so far I'm realizing that every issue where he like every series anyway that he is really good at, Rogue is there.
But again, I think that. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think that he excels at like big superhero action with character beats thrown in, like building up those villains. Because that's what Uncanny Avengers was, his run of
Yeah.
that. And again, I think when we had the Rogue panel last week, we talked a little bit about how Rogue is best as a superhero, and that's
Yeah.
why she was so good there So you come here, and again, that's what this book is. It's like a lot of big superhero action. You get a lot of character beats in between. Again, the art from Pepe is just so solid, and he sells the emotion, he sells the energy, the tone, the colors fit perfectly. The villains are interesting. It's just good. It all works. You see the X-Men once again just out there protecting people, which is something that they haven't been doing. Not for, I mean, they've been doing it, but just like not so openly.
Mm-hmm.
And you once again you kind of see humans like respecting the X-Men and saying, come have a
Yeah.
barbecue with us. Even in the first issue when you had the other heroes saying like, welcome back. Yes, we love Krakoa, we love the island, we love that they have this for themselves. But again, the X-Men kind of at their core have always been superheroes, protecting that world that hates and fears them. They were out there doing the damn thing. So
Yeah.
this is them back to that. And so it's just nice to see. And this team,
Mm.
this team feels good with it
Don't it?
because it gives you some calls back to like classicness of obviously Gene and Scott. You got your '05. You have Sunfire, who's all new, all different. You've got Polaris, who's been around forever. Then you have Sync, who's been around for a long time, but he was dead forever. So you get this new sense for him, and then you have Laura Wolverine, and because every team needs a Wolverine. Um,
Yeah,
she's
they
not
do.
that great on this book though, but
I thought about that, and I think that is early to really like say because it's only issue 2. I think her moment is coming
so I
soon.
think her moment is coming, but I just don't think it's going to be enjoyable. Like the way she's already talking now, she just feels like a female Logan, and that
Yeah, she
shouldn't be
just
Laura.
feel more Logan. Yeah,
And that's not Laura to me.
yeah, I agree. She is her own person. That's like her entire like story is about her. She is her own person and not just
Yeah.
another uh Wolverine or Logan anyway. She is Wolverine. I thought this issue was fantastic. Polaris standing aside, like
Hmm.
the I loved the callbacks that were able to be used in this. So, I'm the cosmic one, and the annihilation wave was actually used in. Hmm, we'll have that debate later. Um, I the annihilation wave was used in like the by a nihilist and
Hmm.
in like the negative zone, and the wave was normally like a big like armada of these space bugs. So I thought that it was cool for him to basically use them as a drink and basically have him throw up all those bugs, and they end up forming into this big like kaiju creature thing. Yeah. So I thought that it was cool that he used the annihilation wave against that, but then that to me means like the X-Men just fought like the annihilation wave. Um, and that was something that Annihilus had used to like wipe out planets. So I think that that's really dope that they were able to like take this thing on like it was
if
nothing.
if there is one thing that I will say about the X-Men, they have been shown to be very powerful. Like
Yes.
as and that's even like in their most small collective units. Again, when you think back to X of Swords, you had the Iraqi mutants who were like fighting those daemons from Ammon forever and like just dying off and getting killed. And you had four Krakoans and their human ally holding off hundreds of them with no problem. Like
Yep.
Storm was like, "Oh, I'm holding them back with like my lightning and my wind," and then you had like Magic and Apocalypse and Wolverine and Brian and all of them like just beating them back. You know, they're those girls, okay? Like, please don't play with them.
Okay. Yes. That is a very great point because it really was just like four Krakoans there. Storm Magic and Wolverine out there doing the thing.
And people think that Rocky can beat the. Anyways, don't get me
Uh,
started with that.
I just thought this issue was fantastic. We also got to see the reason that Sunfire like gave his speech for how he got voted in to be on the X-Men team. I thought that was really cool because I'm sure people had been wondering like what do these people have, what has everyone's favorite character said to everyone as like part of their campaign slogan to
Yeah.
forward to X-Men. So that was really cool. Um, Obviously I loved all of the Polaris moments. It's been a while since I've really gotten to read her and see her like personality shine and like really just be herself, which is
Mm.
like little smart ass girl on the team who is just like I'm here to do my job
Yeah.
and just kick it. And I really found it funny that as I was reading this, like I thought that the throwing up the bug stuff was gross. And I get to Lorna's line and agrees.
And she's like, gross. That's your girl. Do you? I mean, do you think? Let me rephrase that. What do you think her motivations might be for like joining the team?
Like if when it gets down to Dugan presenting whatever Polaris told everyone to her to be on it, like what do I think she should?
Because I'm pretty sure every X-Men is going to get an issue where they are kind of discussing why they wanted to join the team. What do you think hers is going to be?
I really, really hope that it is connected to Genosha, because the one thing I have has said about Lorna is her story is how much she just wants to. She's more of a defender than like the hero who's going out to like, I want to prove myself and prove how great of a hero I can be. Lorna really only really comes out and really like is that kind of like where she's like, I have to protect this thing when there's an island of mutants to protect. She is all about like being all about mutants and like protecting that. So when there was Genosha, she was like up there with Magneto and protecting Genosha. She like left the X-Men, kicking it with them, to go be with Magneto and Genosha. And now again with Krakoa, she's down to be. She wants to be on the X-Men to protect that. So I think that like I hope that it's connected to Genosha, or for her to say that she wanted to just get back out there and find her own motivations for herself outside of being on an island.
Okay. I look forward to it. I mean, again, I think also this is kind of why I think the series might only be like 12 to 15 issues before it reboots for with the next creative team. We'll get like their motivations in these issues, let them talk, and then we'll go about the next one. But I don't know. I could be wrong. That's just what I think. But I'm loving this series so far. It feels good to be excited about the X-Men again.
Yeah. And all those team ups are really dope. You know, I've seen Lorna perform MRIs before, like using her powers where she could like do an MRI to kind of find something, but to mix it with genes to do an MRI for memories with her telepathy was really cool. I would rate this series a 4.5 out of 5, and the only reason the book, I give this book a 4.5 out of 5, and the only reason it didn't get a 5 is because I thought that the inks were like kind of dark sometimes. And
it was a little muddy in certain places where you kind of had to go back and be like, what's actually happening here?
Which is like so crazy. If it was like colored that way or if it was like inks.
I was gonna say, which is so crazy because so many of the colors were kind of vibrant.
Right.
So it was just like, okay, that's weird. I did also really love like the aliens and their game of like why they kind of sent the annihilation wave to Earth. You know, so many they just want, again, I love villains or bad folks who just are bad. They're like, we just want to destroy stuff.
You know, like, I love that. You know, your reason to do it, just go out and do it. And I think it's really cool how the planet-size X-Men issue with, you know, them forming the planet Araco has really thrusted X-Men and like the Earth now into like this big cosmic arena now. So like there's bound to be several consequences for stuff like that. So who knows what else is coming?
It's gonna be very exciting. Very exciting time for the X-Men. Very exciting time to be an X-fan.
Truly, jump on board, y'all. All right, well, those are the books of the week. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back.
All right. All right, everybody. Hello. Welcome back. We are here for another panel, and I have a character that I'd like to discuss today. And
all right, let's bring her on down to the carpet.
Who has had a very consistent upward swing, and has been getting a lot of focus. Is recently had their own movie. Is in a movie that recently just came out. And today I would like to discuss Miss Harley Quinn.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
Harleen Quinzel. Dr. Harleen Quinzel.
Yes, let's get that right.
Right, Dr.
Okay.
Harleen.
Psychiatrist.
Okay. So for those who don't know, Harley was actually not originally a comic book character. She was created in 1992 for the Batman animated series, and she was originally only supposed to be in there for like one episode. She was created by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm. But I guess I don't know, the design was popular. Everybody knows that like the
That
the
Harlequin.
yeah,
Like,
the Harlequin outfit with the little jester hat,
yeah.
red and black. And she would like just jumped off, so she became like a really prominent reoccurring character. And she actually didn't get her first canon comic appearance until 1999,
Mm.
when they introduced this like Batman one shot for Harley Quinn, where they brought her in, and her story was just that she was the Joker psychiatrist, and she ended up falling in love with him and became his villainous accomplice. Now, there actually was another little one shot from Bruce Timm and Paul Dini that came out in '94. I want to say it was
Hmm.
like very popular. It was based on the series. It won an Eisner and a Harvey Award,
Oh, wow.
but it just wasn't canon, so they
I
left.
mean,
um,
I'm not
but
girls.
Despite all of that, Harley has like kind of continued to rise and like be a part of different series. She's been on the Suicide Squad. She's been in the Secret Six. She's been a Gotham City Siren. I will say that she did have a couple of solos in the '90s by Carl Kessel and like Tony Dodson, Terry Dodson, excuse me, and it lasted for like 25 issues, but
Wow.
it had really bad sales.
Cold.
So they right. So they actually ended up revamping it, and it became a little bit grittier and darker for Harley. Uh, very well received, but the sales still stay bad. So it just ended up getting canceled regardless.
Oh,
Uh,
damn.
I know, right? Poor Harley. So I would say her rise really started in the New 52, which is very interesting when you think about it, because the New 52 was so bad for so many characters. But
Right.
maybe that's why she was able to rise up. um, and I also honestly think a big part of that was because this was her first big separation from the Joker. Like we had
Yeah.
seen Harley kind of run around without him again. She was like with the sirens and do stuff, but she was always very tied to the Joker. And I think once a lot of people started to realize how bad that relationship actually was,
No,
they
let's
kind
say
of
it's toxic. It's
it's
very
very
abusive.
toxic. Once they saw that, it was really much a thing to go see Harley outside. And Harley is a very popular character. I don't know
Like,
if people know this,
extremely popular.
but even especially around the time of the New 52, I will never forget an interview that Jim Lee did, and he said that Harley 2 was considered the fourth pillar of DC. So that means she was their fourth biggest character. So we all know the Trinity: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. He said that after Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn was their next most popular character. That's a feat.
Truly, and like, honestly, I don't even think that's really debatable. Like, as much as I would want that pillar to be like Green Lantern or something, like it's true, it's truly Harley because like she is just that popular.
She
I
is
think
really
her story
popular.
and everything really kind of resonates with people. We've all had to deal with shitty men.
Okay,
you know,
that's a
no
word.
matter no matter what you like, we've all had to deal with shitty
Hmm. Hmm.
men. So I think people can kind of really pick up on her story and just her like what makes her unique and like her voice for herself. And I think people really wanted to see her kind of stand on her own because she has a
Yeah.
very big audience. I think a lot of her fans were female like readers, comic book fans, and I think they really wanted to tap into like Harley by herself so they could really get behind her away from
Exactly.
Joker. And
Yeah.
once they got into that, she
It was
skyrocketed.
a wrap.
Yeah.
And I think the New 52 series. So the New 52 series, for those who don't know, it was written by Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor. They are husband and wife. They actually work on a lot of things frequently, and I think Amanda Connor's art also really helped push Harley in there. She was a very popular artist back in the day, um, and so the covers were good. The action was great. She did Power Girl for a little bit too, and I remember that was really well received. They've done
Hmm.
a lot of stuff together now that I think about it. Nonetheless, again, this also is the series that changed Harley's origin a little bit. So it was no longer she was just a psychiatrist. This is the one where they finally kind of solidified that the Joker also put her into the chemical vat that
Yeah.
changed him, like changed her. And it also really kind of started to solidify that romantic relationship with Poison Ivy, which I don't
Mm-hmm.
think
Maybe it's a
anyone.
little bit lesbian.
Yeah, it's a little lesbian friends. Uh, I don't think I've ever met a Harley fan who dislikes her relationship with Ivy, and vice versa for like the Ivy fans. People
Yeah.
really like them together. Do you actually like Harley Quinn?
Let's see. um, not really.
Okay.
Although I think actually I have a weird relationship with Harley Quinn as a character. I think for a really long time I found her annoying. Like I thought that she was cool in the animated series and cool when she would pop up, and like give her accent and stuff
Yeah.
and fight Batman or B-Man as she would call him. But I could never get behind her because of her being with Joker. But then once they really start to pull her away from him, I started to see like, okay, she's interesting enough or whatever. But then there were too many times where she felt like a female Deadpool, and I do not like Deadpool. So yeah, I
Um,
was like, I
I
don't
can
know about
understand.
that.
So I think I also have a similar kind of relationship with Harley where I feel like I should like her a little bit more than I do. Like the
Yeah.
psychiatrist, crazy girl, like I'm into Deadpool. I think my thing with Harley is that I always want her to be written differently than how she actually is.
Mm.
Like in my mind, like you said, they kind of do play her off as like a female Deadpool a little bit. She's got some slapstick. She's kind of crazy. Um, when I would read Harley, I would always want her to be crazy, but I guess in a more controlled way. I guess to be differentiate her from Joker because my whole thing was that like she was still a psychiatrist. She's still like this brilliant woman. She's still a genius. So I expected her to I guess be a little bit more manipulative or like calculated in how she does things. And
Mm.
that's not really Harley. She is also just kind of chaos like Joker. And so I guess that's where my disconnect came with her. Once I kind of accepted that, I was able to take her in a little bit more. I personally don't really pick up too many of the solo series. When I have, I wasn't into them too much. But Harley is interesting in the fact for me that while I'm not into comic Harley like that, Harley in any other media, I'm all
Yeah.
in.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
the Harley Quinn show that debuted on the DC Universe app and now was on HBO Max. Probably my favorite Harley Quinn version of all time.
Hmm.
Margot Robbie, I cannot praise her enough as Harley Quinn. I think I've said it before, maybe on the show, maybe just when we talked. I consider Margot to be like the definitive Harley version. I think if whenever she gets in movies again or she's recast, people are always going to kind of look at that and be like, oh, you got to be like Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn.
Exactly. I completely agree. She's up there with like Iron Man as fire or Robert C. Ro- Robert Downey Jr. to
Yeah, yeah.
as far as like really cementing themselves like within that role. Whereas like I could see another somebody else be Hawkeye. Like, you know.
We hope somebody else is Hawkeye.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
like
honestly,
so.
same thing with Joker. Like, I could see
Hmm.
some being Joker, but currently, like Margot was her performance as Harley was like the gold standard. They would have to be that.
Which is kind of, and we're gonna talk about this a little bit later. But I kind of feel bad for Margot also because while she is truly, I think, the best Harley Quinn, I think a lot of the things that have surrounded her have not been that great, and so I feel like that has
Yeah.
kind of hampered. I'm not even gonna say it's hampered the popularity because I do still think that she's very popular as Harley, but
Hmm.
I think it kind of hampered the success of the movies for her. Like the Birds of Prey film should have gotten way more than it did.
I agree. I really liked that movie.
It was
It
good.
was good.
And I don't think she gets enough respect as Harley either. Like she does her own stunts.
Hmm.
She commits to the role. She has to wear the makeup and the ridiculous costumes. And so many times you hear about celebrities when they take on these superhero roles and they like complain, "Oh, I had to sit in the chair for the 3 hours to do this," and I had to. Margot loves it,
Uh-huh.
and you can tell she loves it. So
I
that's
remember on her birthday, they like made her a Harley cake with like her favorite Harley comic. She has
yeah.
her own favorite Harley comic because she like was constantly reading them.
So that's been dope to see for her. Good for her. And it's again, it's just crazy the popularity that Harley has. Again, when you think back to Rebirth, that was and maybe it's just because I'm not going to even take that away from her and say it's because everything else was so bad. Harley Quinn was Harley Quinn was DC's best-selling comic book during the Rebirth era. Like
I saw those numbers every like month. She was always killing it.
Number one, she has the most titles to her name, like solo and like periphery and satellite books, next to Batman and Superman. Wonder Woman don't even got that.
Yeah, I think Wonder Woman only has one book in her corner, just the Wonder Woman. Harley's got like 8.
Harley has like her own little like red, black, and white series. She's had her own spinoff. She's had like a Harley Quinn and Friends. Like
I was gonna say, she's got another one that's like Harley and Ivy and something, like a mini with them.
they have a comic that about the cartoon right now that's coming out in a few months. She's got her own TV show.
Yeah. I mean, and let's be honest. While the movies themselves in the DCEU have not been good, Margot and Harley Quinn have truly been carrying those movies. The first Suicide Squad movie was not good. But what did you walk away liking? Harley Quinn.
Harley and Deadshot, that chemistry was off the chain. But you know, that's because Will and Margot was sleeping together.
We don't want to talk about entanglements, child.
It was cool.
I mean, same thing with the other Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Great stuff.
I think originally wasn't that supposed to be like an actual Birds of Prey movie, but they just made it a Harley Quinn.
And the Birds of Prey. Like, come on now. Like, it's crazy when you think about Harley like that. And so, you know,
that is wild to think about, that they really like were like, a Birds of Prey movie wouldn't sell. We have to put Harley Quinn in this.
And so again, it's just it's crazy because it translates to the comics. Again, Harley is a very successful character. So you know, you go back to the comics, the new 52 run ends, and then we hit the Rebirth era, and we get another series from Rob Williams. I believe that one was like fine. I honestly didn't hear too much about it. I don't remember. I also didn't read it. But I do remember specifically once he kind of fell off the book, it was relaunched again. Sam Humphries took over the title. And like that lasted for a very long time as well. And here we've had her in these different areas. She's was on the Suicide Squad. She was on Tom Taylor's little version. I don't know if she's on the new version. But now here we are in the Infinite Frontier portion of DC, and she once again has her own book, and that's from Stephanie Hahn and Riley Rossmo. And I really like Riley Rossmo's art, so I actually might kind of pick it up. But I've heard it's just about her going back to Gotham to reinvent herself, which sounds a little bit like a TV show, but you know.
That is definitely the premise of the TV show, but
DC loves synergy, so it's just been really interesting to talk, and I just want to talk about Harley as a whole.
Do you think that she's become like the Suicide Squad? Do you think she's become a staple character of that now? Like that team? You know how whenever there's a relaunch of a book, there are certain characters who people feel as though they pretty much always are going to be in them? Do you think that she's become like that?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said Betsy was like that with X-Force for a bit. Everybody was like, she's always going to be on. And I was like, please not.
Not again.
So yes and no, because obviously the movies have put the emphasis of her on the Suicide Squad. But I think about when you kind of think of what the Suicide Squad is and like how the people always die, especially now with the bombs on their head and stuff. You just know Harley's never going to die.
Right.
And if someone decides to kill Harley, that'll actually be kind of interesting.
That'd be huge.
To see like Harley is a big character.
Yes. Like the death of Harley Quinn would actually be like a pretty big deal. Yeah.
Oh, I kind of want to see it.
Would it be bigger than the death of Joker?
Yeah.
I think so.
You know, people don't really like the Joker, from what I've started to notice.
I think people are just over it because, like, I've seen people recently talking about like Batman comics in general. I saw this tweet that was like, you know, does anyone else feel as though they are kind of like done with Batman? Because like I have all these stories that I've been collecting, and this person said that they were 31. They were like, I've been collecting Batman stories since I was like 10. I read everything, and I don't need any more like rehashes of the same thing. And him versus Batman Joker, like, does anyone else feel like that you can kind of get off the ride? And I don't feel that is very much the same for Harley. Like, you know, whereas Joker is like, you're so sick of it because they've been doing that forever.
And I feel, and again, I think that's because once they were able to distance Harley from Joker, they were kind of also able to distance her from Batman. So Harley has now gotten to a space where she is her own character. She has her own villains. Even she's got like her anti-hero thing, so she fights people. She's good to go. You can have a Harley without a Batman. You cannot have a Joker without a Batman.
No.
And I also agree with the person who said that, because it's time for Batman. It's time for Bruce to hang it up for a little bit. I think we've even said that though.
Yeah, like, we said that.
Bruce, Wolverine, there's a couple of folks. It's just they just gotta hang it out for a little bit, and like that's fine, so we can kind of get over it. Joker, I've honestly never found Joker to be that interesting though. So
me neither. Like, I understand that's like psychiatric, like him being crazy and all that, but like
he's a clown.
I don't know. He's just a clown. Yeah.
Just beat him up. It's fine. He killed Jason Todd.
He did with a crowbar.
With a crowbar. Actually, no. Jason Todd died in an explosion. He was just beat very hard.
Right. He was beaten literally within an inch of his life. But Joker was like, let me make sure.
If the building wouldn't have exploded, Batman would have saved him.
I don't know about that. I don't think he has time. Take that many hits to the head.
You know, and let me do a quick segue to Jason Todd. It's also really crazy to me how so many writers, when they like write him, they have him fighting with the crowbar. It is so stupid.
You know, I think they try to make it seem like he owned it now.
It's stupid. Again, he didn't even die from the crowbar. He died in an explosion, and it's just like,
I don't know. He beat the hell out of him.
But he was still alive. He was like dragging his body. Then he realized it was a bomb. Batman was like right outside. It was like he would have been right there. If there was no bomb, he would have been okay. But nonetheless, this is about Harley Quinn. I'll do a Jason talk one day as well, so we can get to that.
That'll be interesting. I got thoughts.
How do you feel about the Harley Ivy relationship?
You know, I originally wasn't that big of a fan because it felt kind of forced to me, and it felt kind of very fan servicey. Like, oh, we're just going to put them together because fans really want to see them together. But I will say that the Harley animated series actually really turned my mind around about all of that, because you know, maybe I am just not interested in comic Harley. You know, and her outside of and everything else is really great, because I like playing her in video games and all that stuff. Like,
she's good in Injustice.
Yeah, she's great. So maybe I just don't like that. But like the animated series really sold me on like their relationship. It felt more authentic there because we got to see it grow.
Agreed. I think that's one of the things too. Like, again, that New 52 series like hinted at it, but it was never anything official. And then I think that became a thing. There was just always so many hints, and it was just like, personally, a lot of people who I saw who were big fans of the Harley Ivy relationship, it was just because they didn't want to see Harley with Joker.
Yeah, that's fair.
Totally fair. But my also thing was like, oh, just because she's not with Joker doesn't mean she necessarily has to be with Harley. But I think, like you said, the animated series, it really fleshed it out. It made it a little bit more natural. You kind of see them going through their ups and downs a little bit more, whereas in the comics, it's kind of just like, when they fight, it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah. It doesn't.
But again, that could just be a thing because it's comic Harley. I wonder what that disconnect is.
Yeah.
That comic Harley doesn't really hit the same way as those animated. Maybe Harley is one of those characters who's like made for just like animation and live action. Like, you got to see her. You got to see it. Like,
it's where she started.
I think Deadpool, like you said, she's like Deadpool. I think that's a really good example. There's so many people who I know who didn't like Deadpool in the comic books, but they like loved the movie.
Mm-hmm. Because I enjoyed the first movie.
That's not the first.
I did.
Because you just kind of like need that. You need to hear it. You need to hear the voice. You need to hear the jokes land. You need to hear how the interactions. I think that maybe that's what helps. I don't know. Maybe that could just be me projecting. But media Harley is it. Comic Harley, we'll see. How do you feel about how they've kind of changed her costume, her hair? Do you prefer her in like the original iconic Harley Quinn outfit? Do you like how they've kind of like just made red and black her colors with her pigtails?
So I think that if I had to rank them all,
Hmm.
the hot topic look would probably be the last one.
Okay.
Like I'm ranking that last. Not that it's like a bad design or whatever, and I recognize the reference. I forget uh the singer, the rock star who like the entire look is referenced after, but it just feels so like mall. Like it feels very hot topic
Yeah.
versus her and her red and black. That at least feels more like costume, like I am a part of this comic book universe.
Yeah.
um and I understand like sometimes people want to make things a little bit more realistic or whatever, and give them more real looking clothes, but I'm okay with things looking a little bit like comic booky, I guess. So I like the red and black aesthetic more than the other, and I'd put that like hot topic look last, and then the Harlequin one right above that. I think
Okay.
that look is interesting enough, and it's where she started, but in everything that's not like the comic or a flashback to her in an animated
Hmm.
series, it looks weird. Like I
Yeah.
liked that they did it in the Suicide Squad movie, the first one.
Hmm.
Um, that when they showed Margot like in that costume, because like I know people want to see Harley in that, but like it
Yeah.
looked silly. So I'm glad they
Yeah.
went away with that one.
I'm glad we got the little flash and then we kept on
Yeah.
going. So I can appreciate that. Do
Put,
you
put
think
her in her red and black, put some diamonds on some pants, and give her some guns and a
she's good?
mallet. She's good to go.
Do you like
I
the
do like
mallet?
her with a bat. I do like her with a bat though.
You like it with the bat?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
bat side.
Yeah.
Um, do you? What do you think would take for you to get into Harley in the comic books?
I don't know. That's solid. Like, I don't know. Um, I don't know. Maybe if she got more, um, maybe a bigger
Serious.
rogues gallery,
Okay.
something I could maybe like grasp onto, or maybe a more like I don't really know who else is in the book with her other than just her and the voices in her head. Like I want to
Poison
know. See, like does she have a like a more expansive
So I
supporting
know,
cast?
I know they built out like a couple of supporting casts. Where I specifically remember during the era of the Sam Humphries run, she had like a gang
Oh
of
yeah, the Gang
people.
of Harleys.
Yeah, the gang of Harleys, and they like all cut their hair in
Was there
really
a gay
weird.
one?
Yes.
I love that.
They all like cut their hair. She like shaved her head too. It was kind of weird. But I know they're there. But again, I think that's another thing for Harley. It's like the books sell. It's good. Um, but do the villains stick? Is it more of just like a villain? Is that kind of what happened? Because again, she's really kind of a villain herself.
Yeah.
So
That's the one thing I hope that they never really change for her is I understand that she has a lot of fans and I understand that she's popular, but I want her to still be able to do the like villainous things. They at least still do it in live action anyway, in the movies where she's still like a villain and doing like bad things,
mhm.
even if it is comedic or for like uh, Cassandra Cain like it was in Birds of Prey. But I hope that they kind of keep her still being a villain instead of going the route of like anti-hero. DC got a thing about making their villains anti-heroes.
Oh,
Marvel too, actually.
everybody.
Yeah.
Get it. Let the bad people be bad. Some people are just bad guys. It's okay.
Yeah.
Uh, but no, I agree. I think I honestly, well, that was New 52, and that's supposed to be a different universe now. Because I was about to say, I think after some of the things she's done, you can't really ever put her in a full anti-hero type or hero phase.
No.
I specifically remember during that New 52 run, there was this page of Harley. There was some game that came out, and like all these kids in Gotham were playing it, and it was supposed to be super fun and very popular. and Harley sabotaged the game. So as soon as everybody started, bombs went off and they exploded. And so she like killed all these people all around Gotham, and it was like, oh damn. But I remember like a lot of Harley fans were kind of upset at the time because like they were trying to like say, oh, they're making Harley a hero, and this was very much like, no, she just killed a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
So you can't do that. But the rise of Harley is very interesting. I think if there's anyone out there who has really been into her books, or if you have any specific runs that you can recommend, some miniseries, like I said, she has a lot. Like even when I was doing some research on her for this to just talk about her a little bit, I went back and read some stuff, and I was like, there's a lot here. I was like, she's everywhere. Again, I definitely recommend some of the Jimmy Palmiotti series, from anything from the New 52, obviously, because that is like, I feel like where Harley really started. Or got her rebirth. And also read Suicide Squad by Tom Taylor. Read that. She's got some good stuff. Get into her. Tell us if you guys like Harley, how you feel about Margot as Harley, how you feel about the cartoon Harley, any of the cartoon Harleys. That's Harley.
Yes. All right, y'all. Well, let's take a little break and then we'll come back and talk about the Suicide Squad.
Yay. All right, everybody, hello. And we are back for another rewatch. And this time, our rewatch of the week was the newest Suicide Squad movie.
Yes.
In streaming and in theaters. But if you do not feel comfortable going to a theater yet, especially with the Delta variant ramping up around the world, you can watch it in the comfort of your bed or couch or your home, wherever, on HBOMax, which is what I did.
Same.
And I'm grateful for that.
I love that option. I appreciate that.
I love that. And I also feel like this is not a movie I would have enjoyed paying for. Not to say that I didn't like it. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was fine. I think that, especially when you compare it to the first Suicide Squad movie that came out, it is infinitely better.
Yes.
I will say, though, again, no one matched the chemistry of Margot and Will from the first movie, in my opinion.
That's fair. They had great chemistry, entanglements. But
I thought the way they like kind of interacted with each other, I think that was the saving grace of that first Suicide Squad movie. Will Smith is just a very charismatic actor. He adds a lot of humor and stuff into them that's just very natural, and that like helped him and Margot had their thing going on, so they really liked each other. Every time you saw them on like screen together, it was like, ooh, I like this. And so you can tell they tried to get a little bit of that too with her and Idris Elba. What was his name? Bloodshot? Deathshot?
Bloodsport? Bloodsport. Had you ever heard of him before this?
No.
Me neither.
And I'm the D-list king. So when they were naming some of these people, I was like, who are these?
Like most of them I had Mongal. I didn't even know Mongal had a daughter.
I did know that.
I didn't.
but that's only because I like Mongo.
Okay, fair.
I enjoy him. Yeah. But the movie. Let's just go ahead and talk about the movie. How did you feel about it? What were your thoughts? What did you love? What did you not love?
So I pretty much thought that it was a solid movie, but I think that the parts of it were better than the whole.
Okay.
So there were certain parts of the movie that I really enjoyed, but I don't know if I really enjoyed the whole movie from beginning to end. I definitely thought it was a little long. There was, I think, some stuff that definitely could have been cut out. But it was well done, I thought. They got a nice low budget for them. The actors were all great in it. I didn't think anybody was bad. I actually really also enjoyed John Cena. He was actually pretty good. I did think that they sometimes forgot that Harley was in this movie, but I wasn't sure if that was intentional because, we just had this Harley Quinn panel where we see that she's that girl. She's everywhere. So I wasn't sure if they were let's kind of focus on someone else and do something else with her while we focus on these other characters within this, because they probably, don't want this to even look like it's a Suicide Squad sequel. So more Harley would probably make it feel like it's a sequel to the other one instead of a like soft reboot.
I guess I can see that line of thinking. I actually looked at it in a different way. I felt as though they kind of kept her separate because again, Harley is that girl, and they wanted to just. I know some people have had some issues with the Harley Quinn appearances beforehand and the writing that would have been in the movies and things like that. So I feel like this one was kind of to give her a new showing and show that like it's the same Harley, but obviously like in a better situation. So we got like that scene of her fighting all the guards and stuff when she breaks herself out of the prison. And it's
that was
like
dope as hell. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
When they showed off her like gymnastic skills like with that, I thought that was really cool. And I will admit that while it is kind of easy and cheap or whatever, I'm okay whenever they kind of make characters like, oh, I was also like this great gymnast. so that they can kind of like avoid the whole like explaining why they can do. Yeah. Just like, recently in the Static book, randomly he was fighting. He was like, oh yeah, I'm so great that like my dad taught me how to fight. So like I understand that kind of parts. But like when they showed off her gymnastic skills and kind of like brought that back into it, and the fact that she don't need nobody to rescue her, she can do it on her own.
And I think that was something that we kind of didn't see in the first Suicide Squad movie, because obviously Joker came to like get her out of that situation, and then she had to end up coming back. Jared Leto was such a bad Joker, but I think that they wanted to really emphasize that like Harley is that girl. She doesn't need anybody. She can do all this stuff. This was like her moment to shine. And again, like you said, it was a very dope scene. Like we've been saying, Margot is probably the definitive Harley Quinn at this point. And I don't know. I know there's been a lot of rumors back and forth about her future as Harley with the DCEU.
Yeah.
I would hope. I was about to say I would hope they're not that dumb to let her go just yet.
Well,
they did put out Wonder Woman 1984. So
intentionally. It wasn't a leak. They put it out for sale.
Oh my gosh, that movie. We're not going to talk about that movie.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah. But how did you like King Shark?
He was fun. I thought it was interesting that they never called him King Shark in this. He was Anawe the entire time, which is kind of cool that King Shark can be kind of probably corny or whatever. So I thought that it was cool that they kind of, I don't know his backstory or like what if he's a creature, a shark turned human, or some kind of mutation or something like that, or if he actually is like related to a god.
I read something like back in the day about him. It was like mystically imbued on him, but I don't know if that has changed in the constant reboots. He does have a little one shot that's going to be coming out soon. I think it comes out in September.
Okay.
It's supposed to, or maybe October. It's supposed to. They're going to tie it in with the Aquaman 80th anniversary, which is like because Aquaman doesn't really come into contact with King Shark that much. But I get it. Aquatic hero, Aquaman.
Right.
They'll find something.
And I think they tried to probably that synergy. They had a bunch of moments in that Harley Quinn animated series.
Oh yeah, they did also have those. Oh, that's a good cartoon.
It's good.
So what did you think about the like two teams and how Amanda was doing that? Were you expecting that first team to all kind of like die in the first few seconds?
So I did expect that first team to all die. Let's be honest. Pete Davidson is there. He can't act, so like he about to die. And like, they do. And we'll cast them. But I felt like, that entire team, I felt like this was going to be the team that dies.
Yeah.
But I was not expecting the other teams to have also been sent there. And when they had Amanda Waller say, where are all these soldiers? And Amanda Waller's like, don't worry about it. They've been distracted. I thought that was dope. Having her be the one to play all of them.
Again, Viola kills it as Amanda Waller. Like, if that's a casting done right by the DCEU.
Yes.
Okay, let's give them that one there. She kills it every performance. The one scene where Bloodsport.
Yes.
Where Bloodsport and his daughter are like arguing back and forth and yelling at each other. That was really good. But then like after she tells him whatever, and then he goes in there to confront Waller, and she's just kind of standing off up against him. I'm just like, damn, she is doing that. Like she is selling it.
Didn't step back from that like pin to her neck. She was just like, he ain't gonna do nothing.
and I love how he was like, oh, you're sending my 16-year-old daughter out into like, prison. She's like, she's 14. She was like, don't act like you care that much.
Right.
So she sold that. I also was kind of shocked that her team turned on her at the end.
Yeah, well, when you have somebody like Amanda Waller being your boss, it ain't gonna take too much for you to really want to turn on her. You get that first chance and there's whack to the head.
Okay, and she whacked her.
Yeah.
Like, damn. Really good stuff. The action I think in this movie was actually well done too. And obviously, I mean, everything about this one was better than the first one. Now, maybe I shouldn't compare them and just let them be separate things. But obviously, it's like they're both Suicide Squad movies. But the action in this one was really well done. Loved a lot of fight scenes. I also loved the way they did the big bad of this movie, Starro.
Yes.
Starro. Fun fact: Starro is actually like one of my favorite DCEU villains.
I didn't know that.
Okay. It's very low.
That's so random.
I don't tell a lot of people because you don't always really get too many good Starro stories.
Right.
But when you do get the good ones, they're really good. I think about the Young Justice cartoon adapted Starro really well. But I just think it's fun. I'm into I'm occasionally into like the cults type of situations, and I feel like it's a very big unity, one hive, one mind. I'm into it. He's cool, and then it's a giant starfish in space.
Yeah, and they made it work.
They made it work. He looked good. It was scary. It was actually terrifying, like watching the Starros like attached to the people's faces, and then he gets up and he's just destroying the world, city. Great stuff. Really good stuff.
I thought that, like I said, the story and the plot for the movie was great. I'm not sure exactly how I felt about the like time jumps that they were using and the transitions. Sometimes they were kind of confusing. Like in the beginning when there was a now written out on the beach, I had no idea what that meant. I thought that was I was like, are those the rats from the Rat Girl? Is she making them say now for some reason?
Oh, speaking of Rat Girl, I was not a fan.
Oh, she was like so endearing,
No,
I found her a little annoying. Like, girl, you too soft.
You need and then your rats. You should be like, I was with Bloodsport when he was like, "Oh, get those rats away from me." I would have been crying. The scene at the end where she had them like swarming, I would have cried. So I talk about often how I walk to the gym, and so like I go early sometimes, and when I'm out there walking, the rats are out there running around, or they're dead on the street, which is also equally terrifying. Do you remember that day I told you I saw about that rat falling from the sky?
Oh yeah, and didn't like a hawk like.
I do not like rats, or mice, or like the vermin. They really freak me out, and so I would not have been enjoyed being on the team with her.
Yeah, I thought personally, like, I understand her being the heart of the team. And all that stuff, and her leading with compassion and when her daddy and all that stuff, but it was giving Jean Grey. And like some of that bleeding heart shit gets a little annoying.
It's like, girl, you're a killer. You're in prison.
Yeah.
You're in prison. I didn't really buy the whole like super compassionate thing from her. Maybe that was also what it was. But her powers are disgusting. I just wasn't a fan of Rat Girl as a whole.
She's alright. I get the point that she served on the team. I liked her. I liked the relationship that she developed with King Shark. That was cute. When he was like trying to have a friend. You didn't care. Okay.
Like you said, I also really did surprisingly like John Cena. I will say though, I don't think I saw anything special enough to warrant him getting his own HBO Max series.
Oh, I forgot they were giving him his own like HBO Max series.
They are, and I do not think he didn't. I don't think he needs it. I don't think that. I can see where the plot's going to go, or like what they want the story to kind of be based on whatever they did in the movie. We see him and Bloodsport have their face off. He shoots him through the neck. We think he's dead. We find out at the end that he's not dead, and they are just like keeping him alive, and they're going to send him on some more missions. So I'm guessing it's going to be about that. But I don't think I want to see him by himself.
Right.
If that makes sense.
He could be funny. I don't know if I need to like all of that, but like I could see like a small little mini series of him being funny and being the champion of freedom, no matter how you get it. I did
I
enjoy
guess.
his scene with him in Bloodsport where they were going through that camp and killing all the guys.
And oh my gosh,
That was
that was
really
so
cool.
good.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was really
so
cool.
good.
And for it to the reveal to be that they were the resistance the entire time.
Oh my God. Like they were with the camp and they find Rick Flag and he's like, no, this is the resistance to try to overthrow the government. And she's like, why didn't my men alert me to your presence? And it's like, oh no,
We ain't
no.
seen no man.
Like we killed them all. That was a really dope scene. Good to see. Also, I wasn't expecting Rick Flag to die. Spoiler.
Okay, so like I did expect him to die because I assumed that actor was gonna be done with this. So
That's a word.
yeah, I figured he was gonna be out.
I also still did not enjoy his character. I didn't enjoy Rick Flag in the first one. I didn't
Yeah.
enjoy him in the third. I don't think Joe Kinnaman can act though. But again, DC loves somebody who can act.
This is true. And putting him in the lead role.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I did think was funny was when the guy Milton died.
Oh yes, yes. I did think that was really funny. It was
Because
Harley.
like I also remember the scene where they are in the bar and they come in looking for them and they're like, oh, we got to check everybody's IDs to find these Americans, and they like sneak out and then like Milton's running with them. I think that was the first time I had actually noticed the character with them. So when he popped up and he was running, I was like, who is this guy? I was like, because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I kind of fell asleep the first time I watched this, so I had to do it again. And so I was like watching it and I'm looking, I was like, did he like pop up when I fell asleep? And so that's why I was like, let me start this movie over again. But then I don't know, maybe I missed it again because when he popped up again, I was just like, I don't know who this is. And so then when they died and they're like, oh, I was like, oh, the guy died. And and Polka Dot Man's like, Milt is dead. And everybody's like, who's Milt? And I was like, oh, okay, maybe that was purposeful. And I'm not.
Honestly, I loved Harley throughout that entire scene. She was like, who is Milton?
Like, it's called for Milton at the end.
Yeah,
Like,
the callback to it later was dope too. Like, oh, you're Milton.
I also really, I was shocked at how much I did like the Polka Dot Man though.
Oh, really? I thought his mom thing was weird.
It was weird, but I was into it.
Especially when he was dancing with a bunch of them. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah, it was
You need to
weird.
just stay-
But I was like, it's so weird. I was like, it's crazy. But I loved the again how they kind of played with him and with the rat girl when she was talking to him after Peacemaker killed a bunch of people. She said to Polka Dot Man, she's like, I thought you were the crazy one, and he was like, I am. And I was just like, that's right.
Yeah. Did you expect that team to basically all die?
Yes.
Mm.
I thought more of them were gonna die. I thought Rat Girl was gonna die.
Oh, yeah.
I
A
thought
Phoenix moment.
Yeah. I thought she was gonna die. I kind of thought King Shark was gonna die, especially in the scene like when like he fell from the thing and they was just sitting there shooting him. I was like, oh, he's dead. But then he got back up. I was like, oh, he's strong.
Well, see, I didn't think was gonna kill him. It was all when he was in that water, in that tank, and all those like things that he thought were his friends.
The piranha thing started eating him.
Yeah,
that was harsh too.
And shout out to Harley for swimming over there. She was the only one that went over there to go and help him and get those things off him.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why she's the fourth pillar. Honestly, she's kind of the third.
If we go real.
And I think we all know who's getting bumped.
I mean, the facts are the facts.
We all know who's getting bumped to 4.
Who are people more likely to be for Halloween?
Oh wow!
Think about it.
You just woke that up.
Who you more likely to see at a Comic-Con?
The people do love to come as Harley these days.
It's Harley.
Those pigtails, they're iconic now a little bit.
Yeah, I'm putting some in my hair later.
So overall, what would you rate this Suicide Squad movie?
Yeah, overall, I would probably give this a 6.5 out of 10. The 6.5 is off the strength of there were a lot of like parts of the movie that I really enjoyed, but the whole wasn't that great. It was good, but like not that great. And I I thought the action scenes were all pretty good. All the characters and their characterizations were all pretty great. I'm not too familiar with the Suicide Squad or their um, like this particular iteration of them or these characters, so I don't have. I usually try to grade most of my superhero movies off of like comic book accuracy. Was there a budget, and um, like if the story made sense and if it's entertaining. And so I don't really have too many like comic book connections with this team to go off of. So like it was an entertaining movie. I'm not sure if I would be rushing back to go watch it again.
I agree with that. I think it was solid. It was obviously an improvement of the original. I think it had some good action. The humor was there. It had some solid scenes. I do think a little, like you said, I agree that I think it was a little too long. I think some scenes dragged on a little bit. I think I forgot about some things already. But the things I liked, I really did like.
Yeah.
Everything Harley was really good also.
I think low-key I like Harley.
Just like in a movie.
Yeah.
Like in a movie or a TV series or anything like that, like you're really into Harley. It's just something about those comics.
You know what? Maybe Harley is on my list up there like with Wonder Woman, where it's like I just really enjoy watching her do her thing. And her thing is like being Harley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can see that.
I don't know if I'm too interested in the character and like her story and all that kind of stuff, but I enjoy watching Harley do her thing.
Yeah. That's it. You hit that's
you
the
know.
button. That's the hot button issue right there.
And what would you grade this movie?
I'd also give it a 6.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, solid action, solid scenes, a little too long. I don't think the chemistry was hit specifically with like everybody on the cast, and a lot of them were dying, so I guess it didn't really need to be that way anyway. If they were to do another Suicide Squad, would you go and see it?
If they put on HBOMax again, yeah.
Okay.
Well, if I was like, I don't know, going on a date or something, or asked to go on a date. Because if I'm asking, we're not going to go see that. But like, yeah, probably. But like, I don't know. They would probably be another like group of D-list characters or something that I had no connection with. And I think also what hindered this movie for me was I kind of am over the DCEU and I'm ready for them to get to whatever the next phase for their live action movies are, instead of trying to like cobble together something to kind of springboard on out of it and go forward. I'd rather just start this shit over and do it over.
They're saying James Gunn might be coming back for more projects.
That's unfortunate because I've learned that I don't really like his style of directing. Watching this one, he has a thing with that, in my opinion, like, you know how there's like people who you probably met in like high school or college and they really want to be funny, so they like say crude things because they think that's going to get a laugh, but it's really kind of annoying. He gives me that. And he also, like, sometimes that bleeds through into his work. So like he has a lot of like this anyway, he was allowed to be as crude as he wanted to be because it was rated R versus the Guardians of the Galaxy. But like it was giving that at times where it was like, this is giving your energy and I don't really like that. I don't like vibe with guys like that. And like he also really loves music he grew up with. and like and wants to like interpolate them into his movies. And like I get it. You grew up in the 80s. But like can you not, like, sometimes the music is distracting from what's going on in the scene.
Okay, I can agree with that. I actually think that might hit on some of the issues that I had with the movie that I couldn't really vocalize just yet, or that I hadn't fully formed, or like why it wasn't clicking with me. But that actually makes a lot of sense, and because I did not like it. Well, I liked the first Guardians movie, but I did not like the second.
I did not. Me neither. This is my least favorite, like, of the MCU movies. Is always last.
Yeah, and I can see a lot of that carried over into the Suicide Squad. So that actually makes sense. It makes me get a little cautious about him doing any other.
Yeah.
Hopefully not my faves. Don't touch Zatanna.
Ooh, she's getting a movie or a TV show, right? I don't know which one it is.
Allegedly. I mean,
right. You know how, yeah.
They did a whole slate. They said Blue Beetle's supposed to be getting something too, which, really random. Blue Beetle could be the 5th pillar of DC.
You know what? Let's wake that up because he actually has a lot of stuff out there that like sells very well. He's another one that has it. I think he has it.
He has it, and I think if DC really wanted to like push him,
specifically Jaime Reyes, but like at this point, y'all know who we talking about. Like who else is Blue Beetle?
If DC really wanted to like push him into something, you know, you talk about like the next phase of the DCEU and like doing something like that, like he could be the one they springboarded off of.
For sure. If they were ever to have a Teen Titans movie, they should throw him in there.
Oh, everything.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the Suicide Squad, you guys. Please let us know what you thought of the movie, your favorite scenes, what you think of just Margot Harley, what you think of Bloodsport, the Rat Girl.
Thank you for remembering his name.
And like it was crazy because they kept saying it in the movie, and I still was like, "What is his name?" I was like, I kept calling him Dead Sport, and then I was like, "No, that's not it." And I was like, "Blood Shot."
Nope.
It just wasn't clicking.
I mean, he is basically, you know, Deadshot, but with a new DLC costume.
The costume, how'd you feel about the costume?
I actually liked it. I liked how all the weapons and stuff were on it, and he can like pull stuff off of it. I thought that was cool.
That was fun.
And he could like piece them together into something. It was kind of fun. I'm sure we'll see more of him. He's kind of a breakout. So.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, that was Suicide Squad. So you guys let us know what you thought.
All right, y'all. So that brings us to the end of the show. You can be sure to check us out on Twitter at Another Relaunch. You can find us on Instagram at Another Relaunch. If you want to watch the show, you can find us anywhere you check out YouTube's at Another Relaunch TV. You can make sure you send us any questions, comments, anything you may want us to read out loud on the show at anotherrelaunch@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter and other social media platforms at Uncanny LZ. Keenan, where can they find you?
You can find me at Keenan Lance with an underscore at the end on Instagram and Twitter.
Oh, no, that's right. All right, y'all, let's get up out of here. I need Chipotle.
So, okay. I haven't had to eat, so I'm very excited.
Right? Bye, y'all.